Never stay silent in these 7 situations. There are moments in life when silence is not peace, it is surrender. When your voice trembles, but your conscience whispers, speak. When the world moves fast around you, urging you to blend in, but your soul demands you to stand apart. Sandel, one of the most respected moral philosophers of our time, often reminds us that the measure of a person is not found in comfort, but in courage. The courage to speak when silence would be easier. In a society that rewards convenience, over conviction, remaining silent in the face of injustice is not neutrality, it is participation. To stay silent when truth is under threat, when dignity is denied, or when the weak are humiliated, is to quietly approve what your heart knows is wrong. This video is not about noise, it's about voice. Your voice. The quiet power within you that refuses to be muted by fear, shame, or doubt. Today we explore 7 moments in life where you must never stay silent. 7 turning points that define your integrity, your humanity, and your purpose, because silence can protect your comfort for a moment, but speaking up can protect your character for a lifetime. Let's begin. Never stay silent. When truth is being twisted. There are times when lies sound beautiful, when manipulation wears the mask of reason, when people twist truth to fit their convenience, when wrong is polished and dressed as right. That is when your silence becomes a betrayal. Sandel speaks often about moral clarity, the idea that truth is not a possession of one person, but a responsibility of all. Truth, he says, is not a luxury we afford when it's easy. It is the foundation of every just society. So, when you hear truth being distorted, in conversations, in media, in the workplace, even in your own circle, remember this. Silence does not make you neutral. It makes you complicit. Speak up, not to win arguments, but to preserve honesty. Speak up, not to dominate, but to illuminate. Because every falsehood that goes unchallenged weakens the ground we all stand on. Truth does not need many defenders. It just needs one person brave enough to say, "That's not right." When you choose to raise your voice, you remind the world that integrity still breathes among us. Never stay silent. When someone is being disrespected, respect is not earned by power. It is deserved by existence. Every human being carries a story, a struggle, a silent prayer, and to mock or belittle that is to forget what it means to be human. Sandel often argues that justice begins with recognizing the dignity of each person, not just those who think like us, speak like us, or look like us, but even those who oppose us. When someone is disrespected through words, actions, or neglect, and you remain silent, you join the side of the aggressor. It's easy to say, "It's not my problem." But moral courage means understanding that disrespect anywhere weakens respect everywhere. When a colleague is humiliated, when a student is mocked, when a stranger is treated as less, your silence echoes louder than the insult. Stand up, even when your voice shakes. Defend the dignity of others, not because they are perfect, but because they are people. In Sandel's words, justice is not only about what we owe one another, but about how we see one another. When you speak against disrespect, you affirm the unseen worth of another human being, and in doing so, you strengthen your own humanity. Remember, the world doesn't just need louder voices, it needs braver hearts. Never stay silent when injustice is happening. There are moments when wrong is not hidden. It is happening right in front of us. A person is treated unfairly. A rule benefits the powerful and punishes the weak. A voice is silenced. A right is taken, and the crowd looks away. Sandel reminds us that justice is not only an idea debated in classrooms, it is a moral demand that lives in every heart. If you witness injustice and choose silence, you may protect yourself, but you lose a piece of your soul. History does not remember those who stayed comfortable. It remembers those who stood courageous. Every great change began with one person who said, This is wrong, and I cannot be silent. When you speak against injustice, you don't just defend others, you restore balance to your own humanity. Because the measure of our character is not how loudly we cheer for justice when it's easy, but how firmly we stand for it when it's risky. The world changes slowly, but silence ensures it never changes at all. So when you see unfairness, discrimination, or abuse, raise your voice. Even if you stand alone, you remind the world that conscience is still alive. Nor stay silent about your own boundaries. Silence is not always noble. Sometimes it is a slow surrender. When you let others cross your boundaries, speak over your truth, or drain your peace, you teach them how little you value yourself. Michael Sandel often says that moral life begins with respect. Respect for others, but also respect for oneself. Your silence about what hurts you, what overwhelms you, or what disrespects you does not create harmony. It creates resentment. You have the right to say no without guilt, to say enough without apology, and to say stop without fear. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of clarity. When you speak your limits calmly and firmly, you protect your energy for what truly matters. Because when you lose your voice, you lose your direction, and without direction, even the strongest soul drifts. So never stay silent when your peace is being taken from you. Protect it, speak for it, honor it, because your peace is your moral compass. Never stay silent about your dreams and convictions. Many people live lives of quiet regret, not because they failed, but because they never spoke their dreams aloud. They stayed silent out of fear of being judged, laughed at, or misunderstood. But silence cannot protect a dream. It only buries it. Sandel's teaching reminds us that society grows when citizens have the courage to share their convictions. Every vision that shaped our world began with a voice that dared to be different. If you believe in something, speak. If you have a dream, declare it, not to boast, but to breathe life into it. Your words have power. They summon opportunity, attract allies, and awaken potential in others. Silence, on the other hand, keeps greatness hidden beneath the weight of doubt. Speak up, even if your voice is small, because once your dream is spoken, the world begins to rearrange itself in ways you cannot yet see. Every courageous voice inspires another, and in that chain of courage, humanity moves forward. Never stay silent. When you're hurting, strength is not pretending to be unbreakable. It is allowing yourself to be human. We are taught that silence is strength, that emotion is weakness, but silence in pain is not healing. It is hiding. Michael Sandel's philosophy of community reminds us that we are moral beings because we are social beings. We need one another, not just to succeed, but to survive. Speaking about your pain is not complaining. It is connecting. When you share your struggles, you give others permission to do the same. You build empathy, not pity. Unity, not distance. Never stay silent when your heart is breaking or your mind is drowning. There is no courage in isolation. There is only exhaustion. Speak to a friend, a counselor, a loved one. Let words carry your burden before silence makes it too heavy to bear. Because healing begins not when the pain disappears, but when the truth is spoken. Never stay silent in the face of love, and finally, never stay silent about love. In a world full of noise, we often withhold the words that matter most. We assume people know how we feel. We wait for the right moment that never comes. But unspoken love is like unwritten music, beautiful in thought, forgotten in silence. Michael Sandel teaches that life's worth is measured not just by justice, but by meaning, and meaning grows from relationships built on honesty and care. When you love someone, tell them when you're grateful. Express it when you're proud and say it out loud. Don't let pride or fear steal your chance to give joy to another heart. Words of love cost nothing, but they can heal wounds that time cannot. Speak kindness, appreciation, and affection while you still have the chance, because silence in love often becomes the loudest regret. The courage to speak. In every era, people have faced the same choice: to stay silent and safe, or to speak and stand for something greater. Michael Sandel's wisdom echoes this truth, that democracy, justice, and moral life depend not on experts or leaders alone, but on ordinary people with extraordinary courage to speak up. Your voice is not small, it is sacred. It carries your values, your truth, your compassion, and your hope. When you choose to speak in the right moment, you remind the world that conscience still has a sound, so never stay silent, not when truth is twisted, not when someone is disrespected, not when injustice is done, not when your peace is broken, not when your dreams call you, not when your heart aches, not when love is waiting to be spoken, because silence may protect you for a moment, but your voice can inspire generations. Speak for justice, for truth, for love, and for life itself.